Hello everyone and welcome back to ESL One Manila 2016
Team
game
Liquid's
number 2 of
turn to
Mineski
bat.
going up against Team Liquid. I am joined by the Brains Trust. It is Blitz and Cap.
The dynamic duo.
Yeah, you're the dynamic duo.
You can't actually, no.
Why?
That's too much of an action word.
What would you want to do?
That's too much of an action word for someone like Blitz.
I'm trying to like figure out.
Dude, Blitz is a ninja.
5 seconds remaining.
Blitz like literally shows no expression during all of casts. I've seen him like once
Reserve
open up
time.
his eyes and open his mouth a little bit in amazement at a play, and that was like TI4 FY or TI5 FY
Dire
or
team
something.
back.
I'm just kind of like a. I don't know what it is. Like I get hype and I enjoy the games, but it's just
You're the
kinda
cool,
how I
calm,
am.
and collected person. Like, you're that person that actually keeps hold of his wits when something is happening. While the rest of us are just like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.
You know, on a
10
heart monitor,
seconds
you know,
remaining.
like the beep.
Yeah.
You know, me and you, we're
What
like
the
the
heck
actual
happened to
heart
that?
going
5
up and down.
seconds remaining.
Blitz is the in-between where nothing's happening, where the heart is not beating yet.
You realize
It's
what
like,
you're doing with your
Reserve
head right
time.
there is a
Deadline.
flat line. That's all you've
He
got
is-
right there. Blitz is
Blitz is-
effectively
Blitz is a
dead.
flat
Team
line.
Liquid.
You guys
Turn
just like
to
criticizing
pick.
me. I don't understand.
You know they had them, like, it's in built in Dota 2. They had them
Dire
at
team
TI1.
pick.
The players had wrists on them that were actually recorded their heart rate. And there was a graph, just like a gold graph or experience graph, which was showing it inside the game.
And then they
Dire
realized this
team
information
pick.
is not useful in any way.
That was actually one of the things, because for some reason half of the players were dead.
You know what its concept is?
Team Liquid's turn to pick.
Actually thought it was a good thing to get like hype, you know, when crazy moments happen. But I think it's really important that you stay emotionally even when you're in games like that, because whenever I watch the top teams like play, what I really notice that stands out is they try to keep themselves calm, like during the duration of the game. Like, okay, we made a great play, we wiped them, but it's just as easy for that to have turned around on us. And once you hit that high of emotions and something bad happens, your entire team just like collectively is
Team
done.
Liquid's
I think it was
turn
No
to
Teller said in an
bat.
interview that was one of the reasons why, like, whenever you see him in OG now, he doesn't really show much emotion, doesn't really get massively excited because he realized it was affecting his gameplay.
Yeah, you want to
Yeah.
because you want to stay focused in the game. That moment of hype isn't worth everything else that you lose
10
in that moment,
seconds
because
remaining.
you're no longer thinking about like the focus of the game and trying to figure out the direction.
Dire
You're
team
just like,
back.
oh man, we won! Like we got this. And that's
Yeah, it's such an important strategy. Like I would say, other games you can like ride the hype and build that
Team
momentum a little bit better.
Liquid's
But I
turn
think,
to bat.
like in a way, Dota is such a constant strategical fight that you have to be able to keep your wits about you constantly.
Speaking of strategy, we're getting into it. The draft is almost
Dire
fully through the
team
second ban
back.
phase. Mineski, this time they're going to be over on the Dire side with Team Liquid. It seems they've got some very familiar heroes. They picked up a lot, the Prophet and the Doom.
Dire team pick.
I think Mineski.
Team
I mean,
This is a pretty good opening.
turn to
it's
pick.
kind of the same way. Invoker Tusk, great opening. Witch Doctor to match up against the Nature's Prophet. Okay, we saw the way that one worked out for Team Liquid. So, I mean, everything's kind of normal here. Blitz, do you want to talk a little bit about the like 4 positions that Team Liquid have been running lately? They've been picking up a lot more junglers, whereas previous
Dire
iterations
team pick.
of Liquid ran like the super aggressive like ganking style, like the Tusk Phoenix combination that we saw. Like Tusk would be rotating quite a lot, but now they're favoring a little bit more junglers, which still have that mobility to them, still able to put more of an impact on the side lanes. But it feels like these kind of heroes like Doom, Enchantress, they're playing more of a prevalent part of the meta.
I think what people have started to really
10
realize is that
seconds remaining.
you can really abuse this off lane and the enemy safe lane.
5
You want to try to get
seconds
up in their
remaining.
face. We saw it with the bounty hunter especially. You want to be able to help your off laner protect his tier 1 tower
Reserve time.
and slow down the momentum of the enemy team. And then you can rotate heroes down like the OD or the Queen of Pain or the Puck or whatever and just wreck that safe lane. And so when you've got this dual lane, a hero that can just mobily help out the off laner without having to commit too much while still getting his own farm, that's pretty huge.
Right.
And Bounty Hunter is like one of the few heroes I think that fulfill both roles because he can catch up a track, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, which is also why like Enchantress and Doom, or specifically the junglers that we see run by, like this all kind of started at Shanghai, right? It was like people went into Shanghai Major, were practicing there, and they encountered the China Doom, which has just been kind of like a constant, according to Blitz, of the Chinese scene. But the thing is, it actually had like some real opportunity in the meta, and you saw like a team like Secret actually take advantage of that, started picking up the 4 position Doom. and saw how powerful it was at being able to be exactly what he's talking about, right? It starts in the jungle, picks up something, but it runs at you, it runs into your face, and I think you said it was like mostly mid, right? That it used to be the China Doom, but
Yeah.
we're seeing that the way that the professional teams are utilizing this is they're running it at the off lane with the off lane or trying to abuse the enemy safe lane.
Yeah, shout out to Ben Wu, by the way, and Merlini for coining that. Because he was the one that kept playing the Chinese servers the most when he was in Korea.
Mhm.
And we'd see this like consistent trend even when Doom wasn't popular in the meta. We would just see these Dooms. He'd be like, dude, I have this Doom in my game. He just picks up the Wolf Creep and runs at me. What am I supposed to do? But now teams are really starting to realize what you can do with this hero. That you can invade the enemy safe lane. You can just shut down a hero with Doom and kind of snowball off of momentum. But the rest of the draft progresses on. I do like the Switch Doctor
Dire
pick
team
because,
back.
again, you need a hero that'll help you sustain against the Doom. Spectre, I think, was a very smart choice, by the way, by Team Liquid. I think this is a hero that can gap close really well against Invoker, who is usually a hero that just needs a lot of space to play with. And most importantly, I think they find that they can protect this hero really well with Nature's Prophet and Doom frontlining. And one of my favorite combos too, Spectre Puck. I think you always need something to set up the haunt, and I think the Puck Dream Coil is one of the best.
Yeah, good, nice AoE disable. It's also, you're talking about two different heroes that are able to close that gap with the Invoker pretty quickly. The Doom, potentially, once he gets his Blink Dagger, that's going to be a third hero. Invoker's definitely going to be hard-pressed to actually be... Like, positioning is always
10
important for an
seconds
Invoker, but
remaining.
his job becomes a lot more difficult with these picks
5
of Liquid.
seconds remaining.
Mineski do kind of go for the stock standard and the Sven carry right now. Maybe they feel like their last draft... It did kind of seem like, all right,
10
guys, we kind of have to
seconds
do something
remaining.
off the wall in order to beat a team like Liquid, and they went for that in game 1, and that was
5
obviously a
seconds
disaster. So it seems like just all around kind of standard. Like, yeah, they went for the Darkseer off lane, which, okay, now you have a mech hero, now you have an AoE hero to work with the Stormbolt. This is all kind of just like, okay, that's just kind of...
It feels a lot. It feels a
6.86,
lot more
right?
comfortable. Where it's like, hey, maybe we're actually going to have ourselves a closer game than the first series, at least. There's combos. There's hope.
I'm going to take this as Mineski are going to trust in their own skill and not be like, oh, guys, but if we just pick a normal, meta pick, then
10
they're just going to
seconds
outskill us.
remaining.
Like, you can't really think that way. I don't. Unless you really nailed a
seconds
strategy,
remaining.
like you've like got every aspect locked down. You're ready to take on Team Liquid with some cheese. Then okay, but
I really do like Mineski's lineup, by the way, this game. I
Yeah.
think they have the right idea with Darkseer against what they know to be a pretty weak duel lane in Spectre plus Rubik. I think Darkseer does pretty well in that situation, and more importantly, I think this Sven does decent against the Spectre too, as the game goes on later, because the cleave works out well against the Manta, and when you've got illusions and things of that nature. So I think the hero overall is pretty good.
what were the bans? Was Oracle or
Yeah, Oracle
Disruptor?
was last banned.
Oracle
Was banned away.
Yeah.
Was Disruptor still in the pool?
Yeah, but I don't think Disruptor is the hard 5 is my favorite role. Like I don't
Yeah,
think
I
I
agree.
think you want to get
For
Robo
battle.
with that hero.
Yeah, I agree. I think that those are like kind of the three options that you have, and I think Rubik is second. First is definitely Oracle, just because you needed some way to be able to protect that Spectre a lot better.
I think they needed a
Purge
team
off
fight
the Ion
support.
Shell.
Well, you might get that.
Yeah.
Mineski will 5-man smoke down to bottom. So, also, welcome to everyone inside of Dota TV. Sorry, we didn't actually have that thing turned on correctly for the first part of the draft.
Toby's fine.
But don't worry. I noticed. What?
Yeah, I was just here to throw you under the bus.
That's it. That's it. That's it. Cap, you're an ass. That's it.
I mean, be careful, Cap. He might just usurp you with his 4,000 MMR knowledge.
Oh, wow, Blitz. Did you just like drink some
Did you
Toxa
just-
this
wait,
morning
wait, did you
and
say
just spit
sub
it back
4K?
up? Yeah, he made a 4K joke, bro.
No. Did you say sub 4K?
No, I said
There was a
this
bit.
one.
No. Earlier there
Ah,
was an
no,
important distinction
Cap,
that Toby wanted to make.
no,
I was like, it's a 3K
no,
game, and he was
no.
like, sub 4K.
Sub 4K.
You're right, Toby.
That's a good way to
And
put
right
it.
now I'm a sub 6K caster because I'm not there.
Yeah,
Or you could just say
this
5K.
just isn't our patch, alright, Cap? This isn't our patch. Venomancer sucks,
enough.
Jakiro sucks.
Alright, this top lane, though, is going to be pretty free.
The battle begins.
Behold, a prize.
Oh, they're actually going to find Bocarino. Jirek's actually able to walk in close in the Darkseer, but then they're not going to find a kill on him. And they actually leave the bounty rune on top for a while. This is taking a long time, and that mid lane's pushing all the way out
It's fine. A bit like Ben-Hur will still get the experience for the first creep.
When you're in this mid wave, by the way, for Fada, what you want to do is you want to double creep wave against the Invoker to try to force things out and make it hard for him. Because it's really hard for heroes like Invoker to CS under your tower. Like, this is why Fada, you notice that he's immediately going for this. He's going to push the wave with the orb, give 1 or 2 right clicks, and make it hard for Ben-Hur to trade hits. And it also means that the puck gets a free first wave almost immediately.
Yeah, that's a really good point, right?
He's going to orb into this.
You just harass him as much as possible. Because later on to these levels, you're not going to be able to take this matchup, right?
It's okay for the most part. I think.
But your biggest peak is like level 1, level 2, where you do what you're talking about.
It's not even so much about harass. It's about manipulating the creep wave so that you can orb in with it, that you can apply pressure at the same time. Like every single time that the wave is pushing in, Fada sees the opportunity to shoot the orb.
Watch bottom lane right now. They knew what was coming here. The Observe Ward has been scouting out Jules for a while. There's the fact that G-Rex actually has a pickup into the Hoof Stomp that Koro's got as a follow-up. So there is a potential combo here, but the Spectre is in no position to fight.
Yeah, I think this is really nice. They know that the Tusk Darkseer is an incredibly powerful dual off-lane, and the Doom isn't trying to be like rotating into the off-lane like we were talking about during the draft, right, is what Dooms usually do. Here he knows he has to secure his safe lane first, particularly against a tough matchup. Even if it was Darkseer alone, you almost want to try and put pressure, but especially because it's Darkseer and Tusk, like that combination has so much kill power that Doom's gonna kind of have to stay here, I think, for maybe even upwards to like 5-6 minutes, just because this lane is going to be able to put so much pressure on the Spectre.
Got it.
But they are winning out on the other lanes. Like, you look towards the mid CS at the moment, like you were saying, like how much is going to be influenced. Like Ben-Hur's going to have a hard time up against Fada. Maybe you can get something back here with Cold Snap. No, you can't. Bottle charges are available. And Fada again will Happy Tree Tango himself back into a good position. And even a Haste Rune as well, so he can play around with Jules. Kuro doesn't actually have the mana for a Troll Trap, so this will just come down to Fada chasing down the back of that Haste Rune. Ben-Hur's not too healthy either. But it looks like they can be fine. There's the CS difference here in the mid lane. Like, Invoker's at 6-2 up against the 11-for-1 puck as Fada, again, getting very aggressive onto the Invoker.
I sort of think this is what Fada does best too. In the laning phase, he applies pressure on your mid laner and makes it so that you have to rotate heroes forward. He's not always going to be the flashiest guy, but mechanically and technically he's very sound.
But by being able to put that pressure, he's forcing Jules into mid lane because they need to keep the Witch Doctor atop to kind of keep the Furion in check. At least for the first 2 or 3 minutes. I think they should consider rotating the Witch Doctor out of that lane eventually, because once Sven gets like level 5, he deals with Nature's Prophet really well. That's the big advantage of the safe lane Sven right now, is that he's just a solid carry. There's not many offlaners that put pressure on him. He's in fact better at dealing with some of the more problematic ones, like Mother Furion than most. So I think they really need to, at this point in time, keep the Witch Doctor as being kind of that rotating hero into mid to prevent Fada from running over Ben-Hur, and still keep that Tusk Darkseer dual lane. You have to make sure that Motapa Man isn't getting too much out of this lane.
I really just like Mineski's idea of this Darkseer. I talked about it before the draft. I said it was a really good pick. I'm seeing it even more now just because the Spectre, he's had a burn through all of this region already. This is a lane that doesn't get easier as levels go on, because once you've got 2 levels,
Invisibility.
it's really hard for anybody to survive, much less the Rubik. Rubik is one of those heroes that you commit a kill with all of his skill set. It's not really the best just because he doesn't really have sustained damage.
Bocarino is sensing there's a little bit of trouble coming towards him. He actually ran to the tree lines and then straight back out again. He's still got telekinesis available. The Nature's Prophet TPing in as well. And Jules, well, he was considering some kind of snowball save, but at the end of the day, they just allowed Kuro to just punch him down.
That was
that's
actually
going to be not only just 1 kill, potentially 2. Jules starts his snowball, looking over towards the top of the cliff that he's primary target here. Snowball's over, but with a Fade-Ball damage, they just have way too much for them to survive, and this dual offlane of Mineski gives a kill, and yep. Ben-Hur's very low, and Fada, he's actually got triple available as well. Interrupts the attack with a Cold Snap, and the Force Spirit's causing him problems. And the Invoker will win the one-on-one duel underneath the tier 1 tower. Fada getting a little too overconfident. At the same time, Prophet dies up on the top lane. So you lose your dual off lane, but you take out the mid and the off laner of Team Liquid.
I want to talk about that bottom lane engagement real quickly, though. That was just really fast thinking there by Liquid. you know, they saw Jules pick up the
Radiant's
invis rune, but
top
they knew they could
tower is
rotate
under
their 2
attack.
supports into lane before the Tusk gets there, right? He's obviously behind them. So, you know, somebody had to make the call there. Like, Matama Man, you saw him
Radiant's
like
bottom
almost
tower
immediately
is
throw the
under
dagger
attack.
as soon as the support started getting close. They realized this is our chance to actually put pressure on the Darkseer while the Tusk isn't there. Even if he does, we're going to be able to get a lot of damage out, and they actually ended up getting a full kill. You could also tell in that mid lane engagement, Fada wasn't sure if he could actually win that. Cold Snap's
Radiant's
so
bottom tower
strong
is under
with the
attack.
Fairy Fire bait out as well. Ben Hur played that quite well.
I'm really surprised that he went for that move though. He was already doing really well in the lane. I don't think he was in any sort of position where he had to press the especially when you commit the turn close to get the kill, but he saw an opportunity that he felt like he could pass it.
Dire's middle tower
Is
is
that
under
so?
attack.
2 seconds.
Now they got double iron shells from Bender, rotation in. Maybe they have enough damage. Kuro, not the first to fall. In fact, he makes a break for the Roche Pit, but he won't get there in time. It's Fada with the double kill. And a lot of Team Liquid arriving, including that Nature's Prophet. Vash, paralyzing cast can make this difficult for Team Liquid to chase any further. Not to mention the ice wall. They just got no path to keep the chase going.
That was a good rotation. Otherwise, that would have been a free kill on the Invoker too. That's the one thing I think everybody forgets is Invoker in this lane phase stage is really weak. You can abuse this hero just because he doesn't have Ghost Walk, he doesn't have Tornado, he doesn't have the item.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
And Kuro really getting on top of Raging Potato. He's not that tanky just yet. The Helm of Dominator's not completed, but Tupman's going to horn himself up. Raging Potato, he wants his kill with the help of Vash. He's going to find it, but Tupman's still going to be here, giving that extra heal back. The Sunstrike, the bonus damage will arrive. And the Doom and the Spectre will go down again. Mineski, for the first time in this series, is leading on the kill board at 5-4.
I think Liquid just got a bit overconfident. You could see some of the advantages of Doom though in that mid fight when they had the fight in the river. Is that one of the big advantages is in these team fights, Doom just soaks up a lot of attention, and I think that's another reason that we can say that he's becoming a pretty important pick is because of the fact that he can deal with early aggression really well, just because he's like soaks up so much damage.
Yeah. And this
Radiant's
dude, though,
top
is
tower
he had
is
to be a
under
little bit
attack.
more careful because they wanted to commit for the Sven kill, but Sven with even a single level of Warcry early on was quite tanky. They didn't have the puck that could rotate either, just what was on cooldown from that previous stage.
And if there's any other hero there, you're not getting the Desolate damage from the Spectre, which is really important.
Yeah, exactly.
Kuro? Another hunt for Raging Potato. He's got the static creep inside of him, so Hadouken is available. Vash also bringing in that bit of restoration, paralyzing cast. And now the Maledict over on Kuro. They're going to shard him up and lock him in. And they got a little bit more damage to the Sunstrike again on its way in. They're surrounded by the trees. There's still not enough to stay alive. But Jules makes a break for the tree line. They need more stuns. There's not enough mana just yet. 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second. Okay, a lot faster. Raging Potato has his stun. But the duking through Jules into the trees won't be enough. Mind Control will get locked in. But they're not going to keep the battle going. Just accept the casualty 1-for-1.
There's a difference that I see in this game compared to last game with Liquid, is that I was really impressed by the way that Liquid, they were ahead, but they also kept themselves in check, right? I felt like almost every single one of their deaths was very acceptable, right? It was oftentimes a good trade-off for them. They had opportunities to push further and go deeper and go for that extra kill, but they oftentimes were like, nope, let's keep this game, you know, very well controlled. Let's not go for something like that. But here they are. You know, at top lane, they were over-aggressive with the Doom, with that Spectre situation against Sven. You saw Fada in mid lane be over-aggressive when he didn't need to be. There's just a lot of scenarios here where in game 2, Liquid, maybe just with the confidence of, you know, dominating game number 1, that they're just going for that extra bit that is actually biting them in the ass.
Yeah, I think they just lost a little bit of focus, but this mid gank, they were trying to make it happen on the Invoker, but the Invoker at this point in the game is really hard to kill. When he's got the 2 Force Spirits up in Midas, he's going to primarily focus on going for the jungle, which is why both these heroes are going to rotate into
Yeah, that was quick. The
Dire's
Tubman
middle
just
tower
easily
is
comes in
under
for the
attack.
quick follow-up kill. Raging Potato wasn't too healthy at the end of that as well, thanks to the combination with Wrath of Nature. And they instantly turned this into an objective, the tier 1 tower.
You notice how fast that is, though? The way that they played that? It was like the rotation, boom, instantly get that kill, instantly rotate into mid. It's the same kind of way that they sandwich mid lane and tried to take that tier 1 early. Maybe they didn't get it because Mineski chose to actually rotate a lot of heroes, but the damage was still kind of done. And this is the biggest strength of Liquid right now, is that they are able to go for these like really quick plays and turn to objectives. And that speed will catch other certain unpolished teams really off guard.
They're going to turn this into two.
Dire's top tower has
The mid one
fallen.
obviously being the huge prized possession, but the top one, Mind Control's going to get some farm for himself, just gets blasted on the tower. And Mineski, they've got to be careful because they've just lost a lot of their real estate on this game.
Your rotations have to be really on point as supports on Mineski in order to deal with these kind of rapid rotations from Liquid, or else you end up losing like that top lane tower, which I would argue should not have been lost.
Yeah, it was just Mind Control hitting on it with a bunch of summons.
Yeah.
So far in this game, Witch Doctor's actually kind of in the stand-up.
Sparta initiates bottom lane, going over on Jules. The snowball very quick. It's got Walrus Punch and the Sunrise coming in. That'll get the kill over on Sparta. Mind Control wants to get out of here. Then Invoker, he early rotated himself down, but Mind Control, have you got a Quellion Blade? Have you got anything to get through the Sprout? No, you don't. Kuro is going to bite himself up a Forged Spirit. Surge stolen up by Durax, so they can easily escape themselves away from the Invoker and the Dark Seer. But there's no follow-up here. So a 1-for-1 trade-off with the puck still does go down.
Yeah, it's still well worth it for Mineski at the end of the day, because this Invoker just continues to get a lot of farm. And he's been relatively uncontested now. He's already picked up his
Radiant's
level 11.
bottom tower is under attack.
And that is just such a huge trade-off there. Not only just the team fight, but they're like it pays off this rotation that they had at the two cores bottom. They want to fight. They're now going to be able to take the tier 1 tower. This opens up the Radiant jungle quite a bit if they can actually rotate from bottom lane into mid somehow. I'm not sure if they have the team fight potential. Yeah, I think they could actually do it. Put pressure on bottom tier 2, rotate into mid. They can take the tier 1. This opens up the map right back up for Mineski and kind of evens out that lost mid tower.
Mineski is so grouped up. Yeah, you get a 5-mana? Nope, he's actually only get a 2-man coil over a Potato as well as Quackarino, and that'll give it a hit over on Flutter with a Cold Snap. He's going to go down. He started the initiation, but no one else was there from Liquid. Now with the Spectral Horn, everyone is there. Quackarino should fall. They've got themselves a nice zoning. Darkseer wall, they're not dying. The Voodoo Restoration of Vash did so much to keep them alive that now Mineski start to crumble out. Vash, he can't TP out, barely missing it, but the Invoker still in the middle of this fight, trying to find some more. The Ice Wall's making it impossible for Liquid to move around inside of it. The Observer will at least watch Ben-Hur now TP out, but the Treants will not have enough damage to get the kill. They'll all just retreat, and a 3-for-3 trade-off underneath that tier 2.
I mean, that was certainly could have been a team wipe. That's the thing. Mineski do have to be really careful about the initiation of Fada. It's the whole reason that Liquid can win team fights right now. And if Fada had gotten a better initiation, he wouldn't have had to deal with that Meteor from the Invoker. Ideally, he gets a Dream Coil and silences the Invoker as part of that jump. And he gets away scot-free and then just kind of stalls Mineski long enough for the rest of Liquid to follow up that initiation. I think Mineski are super fortunate there that they managed to walk away for a 3-for-3.
This Invoker, though, is like, as we're seeing, like he's going huge. Like 6-1-1 now for the Invoker. And the Sven's not looking too bad either, but at the same time, he's not that normal 1 to 2k we normally expect to see him being ahead of the other heroes.
Yeah, something cool about this Invoker too is that he's already gotten over that crucial
Radiant's
level 11
middle tower
hump.
is under
Oftentimes
attack.
it takes forever for these heroes to pass that, just because there's a lot of XP. That kind of really tells you how far ahead he is when it comes to XP already in this game. 604 per minute. The next highest on Liquid is barely at 400, 200 fully behind. And the Invoker's just going to continue to get ahead with that Midas. So Liquid is going to feel pressured. I feel like they have to make something happen, especially since this puck, he's kind of hit his biggest scaling item with that Blink Dagger.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Like, Mineski's forcing down the mid lane, and you've got Mind Control as well as Metopman attacking into the tier 1 tower.
They're both global heroes. The thing is they don't have their Spectral ult, so it's unlikely they want to fight. They took that bottom lane fight. That was kind of supposed to be their big engagement. They didn't win it as hard as they wanted to. If they can actually stall Mineski, that's a big win. If they could somehow chase them back via spam, but I just don't think Mineski would ever allow that. I think they're actually reading their strategy pretty damn well. In fact, if you watch game number 1, you should be really excited watching this game number 2 because the way that Mineski are responding. They fell back on more of a standard draft, and we're seeing that Liquid aren't just massively outskilling them or anything. Like Mineski are definitely trading blow for blow against Liquid and are actually ahead right now. So this is just a really exciting turn of events in this series.
You're just happy to see them actually playing as a 5-man team, as opposed to game number 1.
I mean, there's a reason that they came out from the Southeast Asian region to be that second team. They went through the Philippines qualifier.
Dire's bottom tower is under
Mineski
attack.
is probably in your top 3 when it comes to SEA. you're seeing exactly why.
Radiant's
think
top
Liquid
tower
too, though.
is under attack.
It feels like this is an outdraft, just because of the laning phase. It was never going to go amazingly well for Liquid,
Dyer's
especially with that
bottom
bottom lane
tower
being
is
contested
under
so much.
attack.
And like you
Radiant's
said, they
top
really
tower
couldn't afford
is
to make
under
those micro
attack.
mistakes, like at top when they lost 2 heroes for pretty much nothing.
What was their offliner that they banned?
Radiant's
sure.
top tower is fallen.
Was it the Tidehunter? That was what Liquid banned.
Yeah. Darkseer definitely puts more pressure on Spectre than
Radiant's
than
top
Tide
tower
does,
is
but I
under
can see
attack.
Some of the reasoning why.
Mineski is ready to defend, push on bottom. Liquid's getting to a point where there's going to be a little bit more damage coming out. The Veil of Discord build coming from Fada as his second item after the Blink Dagger.
Mind Control going to go for the mech too. They realize the type of game that they're in now too, is they kind of have to get into these engagements and they want to fight early. Especially when you have a mid laner that doesn't nearly scale as well. You do have the benefit of having this jungle too, and Doom is always going to be powerful against the Invoker, so why not just take fights?
And this is kind of like the progression of the sort of the revolution that Spectre experienced was that people realized, yeah, it's a late game hero, but you do have these really good timings that you should be fighting around. So when they do have the Spectre ult, they should be looking for fights. I think that was just a general change of pace that teams.
Oh, they know they're Roshan.
Yeah, that Mineski just smoked underneath the Radiant Observer ward that was on the hillside. Kuro planted that one long time ago. So they're coming over to contest Roshan. He's only at half of his life at the moment. But Tuskar sitting outside, so he's got to get a good shard block. Now the Spectral Horn's going to come off. A nice scream call, keeping them all inside of Roshan. He's still down fairly low, but not enough to kill off. In fact, it's going to be Fada, who's the first one to die. But Tomman has a Spectral Dagger himself up the hillside. Roshan Mineski is still trying to finish the job here, but the Fate Bolt and the extra damage arriving from Mind Control. Roshan, you'll be actually isolated up by the Sprout Block and Reno. He's too low. They pick up this man, throwing him on the hillside to allow Mind Control to Tomman to finish him off. And this will now be Roshan going the way of Team Liquid. It looked for a moment when Puck went down that maybe Mineski had control of that fight, but now they're even just picking up the pieces. Jules getting caught out. He can snowball, but it only delays the inevitable. He'll come back out of it and die very quickly after.
You know, I was thinking as they went into the Roshan pit, you know, I know hindsight 2020 and all that, but as they went into the Roshan pit, I'm thinking, you know, isn't that play better if you're running like a 4-man smoke into the jungle and leave the Invoker to do Roshan? Like, that's one of the big advantages of Dire Side Invoker is that, like, it's just stupid, but he's able to do Roshan solo in many ways. But with the way that Mineski ran that, it was, I mean, especially with the aggressive ward, but it was painfully obvious that they were doing something like Roshan, and this is exactly the kind of scenario that will allow Liquid to get, not back into this game, but secure a lead, which this game's been relatively even so far.
I think what they really messed up on is, I don't think the Darkseer had to be inside the pit.
Yeah.
I kind of agree with the idea of putting both the Sven and the Invoker there, just because they wanted to take it fast. They thought they had a speed opportunity. It wasn't really like they were going to go for a fight. It was, they were looking for this off timing, you know, where Liquid wouldn't expect the Roshan.
Sure.
And that's all about speed, because against the Spectre, you don't want to get caught Roshing in the first place. But with the Darkseer being inside the pit and Fada getting the jump in, he pretty much sacrificed his life to get that silence off.
Yeah.
It delayed the Darkseer being able to get the wall off at the entrance of the Roshan pit, and then it just made things really difficult. On top of that, Jerax's positioning in that fight, along with Kuro's, was really good. They made it so that the Witch Doctor couldn't place his cast plus the high ground death ward, and Jerax with the lift onto the high ground pretty much sealed the deal there for Liquid.
Yeah, you'll see many times lesser teams will like funnel into the pit to try and invade, but it's unnecessary for most supports to actually go inside the pit. They kind of always sat around the end, the exit of the Roshan pit, and just kind of were like, okay,
Top tower
you know, you
is
can
under
sit in there
attack.
inside your dream coil, but you guys are just going to get peckered away until you die.
Get faced with a choice of one. If they can keep the Darkseer alive, they'll throw down the Darkseer. Also, a little bit too late. Now, Reality coming on the rest of Mineski lineup with the Paralyzing Cask actually stolen and thrown into Mineski. Doing a large amount of control work. They're still looking for another target. The Sunstrike, not enough to kill off Jirax. In fact, that illusion from the Darkseer wall, it was almost getting the kill until they smoke away from it. Obviously, no real hero. So it cannot break the smoke. Mineski will lose 2 heroes.
Dyer's middle tower is
Only
under
enough to actually
attack.
keep their tier 2 tower alive on the top lane. What Liquid they were going to bear down on to start with.
I just realized too how much gold this Spectre has. I didn't even realize that Matama Man had gone this much, but he has been in the mix of things. He didn't die during that bottom engagement either. The Roshan went to him.
Yeah, I love
Raging
this.
Potato's
I love
about
this
to
play.
Quelling Blade his way through so he can attack from behind. Oh, and here they come. They go on Kuro. Can they stop that dude from being cast with the Deafening Blast? But Tubman's pulled out. Even the cleave damage. Raging Potato needs one hit. There it is. They're actually going to bring down the Aegis of the Immortal. Try to zone out Mind Control. But can they kill for Tubman again? Deafening Blast stolen by Jirax. Hitting a 3 with the orb over him. This is real trouble right now for Mineski. Maybe they have enough damage. Raging Potato's going to get back into the fight again. The buyback came out from the Tusk Guard. They're looking for the opening. The Tornado just a little bit too short to reach Jirax. But Cold Snap, a beautiful ability, able to slow him down. They still need one more attack. The Snowball Bolt will do it. Fada in for the Dream Call. Orbs up to the high ground. And with the Wrath of Nature, it bounces through the Darkseer. But they cannot chase instantly into Fada. They're looking for the target, but they just can't catch him.
Holy crap, what a play from Jerax that was. I mean, there's no way. Jules is probably going to die here, but...
With Rob coming in too. Maybe. No, he missed the Sprout. Jules.
Got Snowball.
He's coming up to Fada. There's support here. Raging Potato's actually in the neighborhood with an Infinite Fruit. So we might be able to solo up Mind Control. The Sunstrike, Mind Control walks forward. Not even knowing needing to walk forward. So they'll pick him up. It will be a trade-off though. So it's Jules for Mind Control.
I mean, Mineski set that up so well, right? The way that Raging Potato put himself in that position, he's like, okay, we know we have to take this fight. Even if we did, they just got to pick up the Darkseer. It doesn't matter. We still have to take this fight. But he positions himself so it's like he has a blink almost.
Vash. Dead.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe.
Oh,
no! The mech charge and surge him away! Spectre didn't want to chase a little bit too far. And
that
Vash
should have
with
been-
his one charge just stays alive.
That should have been such a free kill again on the Spectre, but that Deafening Blast just turns the fight around entirely to a point where Liquid actually have a chance to be able to respond and get some counter kills, and kind of saves that fight from.
Another critical time in which he got pushed back because Tubman actually did end up going down. He doesn't have his Radiance yet. He's been sitting so close to it for a while, but he still hasn't picked up that final relic he's now farming towards.
Sort of think this Nature's Prophet is a little bit underfarmed and maybe he has to push lanes a little bit more to open up things on the map for them, but I mean, Mineski, the way that they set up that fight, I can't say enough of what Raging Potato did. It was kind of, I don't think I've seen a move like that, just because usually this hero needs a Blink Dagger to be able to distribute that kind of damage, but with his team fight positioning, when he was behind them, they had no chance to respond, even with the Aegis. Spectre as an Aegis carrier isn't necessarily the best hero, just because after his ultimate, the effectiveness of the hero goes down by quite a bit.
This is why, like, in this sort of lineup, the Tusk, his initiation in team fights is so important, because you need ways to be able to kind of close the gap or at least stall heroes from retreating away from the Sven. Because at this point, like, he's a hero that no one can really fight with BKB and God Strength, but Raging Potato, he sets up his own initiation, I guess.
Hello, bottom lane. Jirax is TPing out already. They don't want to bar of this, so is Tubman.
Fada's about to get an Ags for himself. I think it's a really good pickup, especially against the Sven, who's going to have the BKB already available, and more importantly, I don't really think there's an item that this puck could go that would really do more for them in this position, especially with the Spec Haunt. Maybe he goes for a Hex, but I don't think that does nearly as much utility. And right now, when it comes to map positioning, it's kind of even. Mineski kind of feel comfortable to let Liquid funnel into them so far. And Liquid have been known to push the pace. They're immediately going to go for the smoke.
Yeah, but look at him waiting. Vash is still sitting behind, so he's got a disruptive paralyzing cast to throw out. With that Aghanim Scepter also completed over on the Invoker. There's still a 9-second BKB on this Ven. Another big thing about that mid fight, that was the first exposure of the 10-second BKB.
He's now got a completed SMY on top of that.
Going that over the Blink Dagger too.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
pretty standard.
Like, you have to understand, like, SNY is still kind of a mobility item. You get the Sage proc, it allows you to stay on that hero. But his biggest issue is still going to be that Axe from Fada. Like, oftentimes you see the reason that Sven is so dominant in the mid game is he's able to get this, like, critical peak and farm before the, like, 3 to 5 positions, like 3, 4, and 5, are able to get their, like, utility items, like Force Staffs or Ghost Scepters, that allow them to kite the Sven during that critical, like, God Strength BKB time. It's many cores usually going to be getting damage items or initiating items. They don't give, usually, the team something that allows them to kite the Sven, but the Ags puck is actually something that is kind of unique to purely this hero. It finally gives you something that actually stops the Sven. It's just kind of like one of those unique aspects.
Sort of think Mineski, right now they're just getting outwarded. Like, there was at one point the perimeter set up by Liquid when it came to isolating out all the spots that they could go for. At top lane, mind control threw down the Sprout, trying to prevent him from denying, but
Here's a special one. They find Vash. He's so low. And this silence from Vada lasted so long until he couldn't get a single ability of no buyback for either the Tusker or the Witch Doctor. As with the Doom over on Raging Potato, there's nothing more he can do. He actually bought the Blink deck because there's no buyback for the
counter
Zen
back in.
either. And they lose the Invoker as well. The Deathly Blast. No, space created. They'll have to retreat themselves out of here. If they did just take out the tier 2 tower, however. So the tier 3 tower will be an option for them.
did you notice how they set up that fight too? It's always on the back of this Nature's Prophet, opening up the map for them. When he pushes in that top lane, Mineski feel like they have to send somebody to deal with him. This time they had 2 heroes up there. So then the Spectre Haunt comes in. There's absolutely no way that they can take that fight at that point.
Yeah, there's always going to be heroes like pretty dramatically out of position because they're constantly rotating like that. And heroes like they have like Witch Doctor is a terrible support at dealing with Spectre because you only have Paralyzing Cask and you're oftentimes like it's just the Spectre alone. So until you have something like Glimmer or something to be able to get away from the Spectre, you're just going to be free food. So it instantly turns into a 4 versus 5. He gets the vision that scouts out all the heroes to allow Fada to be able to get his follow-up initiation. He gets a 3-person orb or something like that, and the fight's just over from there. And it's becomes a question of how many heroes can you clean up rather than can you win this fight.
Yeah, that's a hard ask for Vash. Like, this guy's right now, like, he's budget gaming. He's 1.3k net worth over on the Witch Doctor. The chance of him ever picking up a Glimmer Cage just seems to be a long way away.
Blitz, would you say that this is... Are you reaching the point... You said the warding is, like, a pretty big issue. Are you reaching the point where you have to invest into, like, a gem just to be able to keep... Because Liquid seem to have so much information. They not only have the kind of heroes that give you information between Furion and Spectre, but they also seem to have superior warding. You've got to cut this down somehow, and you're not going to have that many smokes left.
I think it would have been a pretty good option. Right now, they know Liquid should know that they're smoked up, by the way. The main reason for this is just because Nature's Prophet is pushing bottom, and nobody's doing anything about it. Yeah, they're just pinging like crazy. They know for a fact that they're smoked up, and
Fada intentionally moved over, knowing that this was a potential smoke area.
like you're not going to allow a tier 2
They're
tower
going to
to
find
fall
an
like
opening.
this.
Mind Control, they're going to come through. The Sunstrike's able to hit Mind Control. Going to trigger off the mech for Spectre. He's already killed off the Tusker. Will stick with Raging Potato. He needs
at
to
bottom,
get
he's
closer.
gone!
He can't Quality Blade. Mind Control's going to TP out. The Blink now actually puts Raging Potato further into the corner. So then he gets doomed up. The Invoker's dying as well. Vada is chasing him over with the orb, just bouncing himself over that ice wall, back down to Raging Potato, where things have just gone from terrible to worse and disastrous. Mineski will lose 4, and Team Liquid, I think they now have permission to come aboard the Mineski ship.
That's hilarious, but I actually love Rubik versus Sven. Like, if you steal Stormbolt, that's fantastic. If you steal Warcry against the Sven, the big damage dealer, and give all your heroes this big upgraded armor, that's also such a big plus. But obviously, Liquid, it's just been like the last 3 or 4 fights. It all started with what engagement was it? I guess it was Roshan, obviously. That was where this game really turned.
Before that engagement, they were fine, yeah.
Yeah, they were very even. You could even say in some
They
ways
were ahead.
that Mineski were
I
ahead.
thought Mineski was doing really well.
Yep. But eventually that a bad play like that seems to have just kind of cracked.
They just got outmaneuvered in the game. Something I wanted to point out before that top fight ended is
Darkseid should be dead right now. Even with his strength, even with the Greaves, he can't break free of it. And Jules is also going to take a fall. They've got too much to work with. Even Kuro, like, he walked himself up to the dive shop to pick up an Orchid. So they got another level of disabling control over Mineski. If the silence from Fada wasn't enough. BKB, now in comes his men. Nice Stormbolt. Who's he going on? He's thinking about Mind Control. He actually attacked in to Kuro as well. So the Rubik's down for the count. Say goodbye to Nature's Prophet. But Tupman's still sitting here inside the base. His Spectral Dagger, he can't get himself out straight away. Actually meaning the Tornado was going to fail. Raging Potato blinks forward, Stormbolt, available, Matupna will go down. 72 seconds on the sideline, but the buyback comes out from Mind Control. Potato currently trying to fight as a pig. He won't find his target just yet. And he needs to wait a little second longer as Kuro jumps in, bolts him down, the Sunstrike kicking in, but now Ben Hur, he can't make enough space, he's got the Fusel bladed up, and there's just no hope to fight this. The extra heal wasn't there, the Darkseid only just comes back up again. And Team Liquid have already taken out 2 lanes of brackets, and they're looking for their third.
Yeah, you reach a point where
On the back,
Okay.
where's the bolt? Here they come in, finds two, they need some cleave damage. If they can get a die back right now on Mind Control, it's going to be worth it. The snowball forward, Mind Control can be flipped up right now by the Tusker, and Kuro, he's going to join him as well. Two heroes down, and Mineski finally, after their home has been ravaged, will have some level of space to try and repair the damage done by Liquid.
Now they have to go Roshan. The bad thing is, like, Mineski, like, there weren't enough hero kills you could possibly get out of these engagements. Like, even if you got a full 5, it still doesn't change the fact that you lost 2 lanes of racks by 30 minutes. But it's something, I guess, to hold on to. They got a couple of kills. They can take Roshan. They can get the Aegis. You know, maybe they can grind their way back into this game. But they're still pretty far out of it.
Can Liquid contest them on this?
I don't think so. They're not going to want to without the Nature's Prophet available out there.
It would be so unnecessary, right? They're already so far
well.
ahead. If they fed more kills
The
into
beating and the
Mineski's still...
Invoker, G-Rex is too close. He'll actually pick up shards, but with the paralyzing cards, going to bounce over, and Rage Potato already manages to find one. Will they finish off Fada? Nope. He blinks away further up the hillside. He'll Dream Call. Is really delaying this up, but Roshan still will belong to Mineski. Now Dream Call's on cooldown. Fada is waiting. That's Mineski. Do they have the ability to jump? They'll Tornado. Phase Shift will dodge once again. Keep on board with the puck,
Nice
and a great
timing.
back, actually stopping Fada from instantly getting away. He'll orb himself
let him
away.
go.
He's on 120 life. They just need to finish the job. The sun strikes off target. He blinks down, not to the west, so they can't even pick up Fada.
Oh,
but they do
Ben-Hur.
get Aegis.
That was the right idea, too. He took into play that he knew the puck was going to blink about that time the Sunstrike was going to go off. It's just the positioning. It was like a 50-50 chance he was going to get that. But unfortunately, Fada went down instead of left.
I think there was no reason for Liquid to make that play, though.
Yeah.
That was unnecessary. That's the best way to describe that. Just because, at best, you have a 3v5 engagement against a full 5-man.
The only way you lose this game as Liquid is you make plays like that, where you feed them unnecessary kills. You can let them have Aegis. It's not that
Yeah, it
big a
doesn't
deal.
matter. They can't leave their base.
Wait out 5 minutes. It's still going to be, by 37 minutes, you have 2 lanes of racks and they no longer have the Aegis.
Yeah.
So you're still good.
You just play the game where if you catch them out of position and it's really easy with a lineup that features Nature's Prophet, they're eventually going to get lulled into this rhythm where Liquid doesn't really do anything. Then Mineski says, okay, it's probably safe to push out. That happens 2 or 3 rotations with the creep waves. At some point you get sloppy and Liquid take advantage of that. But by going for these plays, you just kind of get caught out for no reason, like you said.
So because of this, most likely Liquid are going to slow down the game and we might not see much action. What was the... You wanted to talk about some movement.
Oh, that's what it was. It's just that this is what Nature's Prophet provides me more than anything. Is it goes down to like a psychological level when you look at Dota. When you push in this top lane, people automatically assume, okay, now it's my turn to push out the wave. And then you continue to push it in. That happens 3 or 4 times with the Nature's Prophet. Then you get lazier and lazier. You don't scout out the area. You don't make sure first, oh, maybe they're trying to set up for a smoke play. You stop thinking about what the enemy team is doing. You kind of just get into this like farming rotation where he pushes the wave, then you push it back.
And even then, there's like some investment cost to even keep in mind when you're going up against them. If you're constantly doing that sort of thing, you're constantly like over-rotating, and you're never actually catching that hero, that means you're actually like, if you look at it from an economical aspect, you're actually coming away the worst every single time because you're just like investing into something that you're not actually catching. So it's kind of like you have to reach this rhythm where you do make those investments and you do catch up with it.
This Spectre, though, he just has to get 6 slotted right now. That's pretty much how Liquid ends this game. Right now, he's not strong enough to fight into that Sven. This is kind of just why Sven, I think, is a pretty good hero against Spectre. Just because you can cut through that 1600 HP really quickly with God Strength up. And the BKB negates the mischance from the Radiance. The burn doesn't really hurt you.
Mineski been hunting for the last minute with Rage Potato as well as Ben-Hur.
Oh yeah, they would love if they somehow got a pick off and then were able to turn that into like 5-man pushing in and forcing a team fight or even just claiming a tier 2 for free.
The
With
warning
Aegis still
spots on
in
the
hand,
top lane
but-
actually gave him something to work with at least.
I mean, it's a definitely a pretty decent Furion ward, but Mind Control is usually going to be one step ahead of the game.
Oh, there's your jump. Fada
Nice.
back in again. And the Sunstrike, he still took the damage from it down to 160 life. He'll blink himself away and then the Dream Coil. They can't keep the chase going. He'll orb up into the tree line and TP away to safety. And instantly Kuro tries to apply the pressure in mid, but he'll be picked up on Tomato. EMP burned out with the Cold Snap, but no, the 4-staff gets himself out of range of the EMP.
Liquid are just doing such a good time, or a good job of buying time.
G-Rex though is in trouble. Well, is he? You'll pick up Ocarino.
I mean, it's okay if he dies.
Searching for Spectral Haunt.
Even
Actually
then.
going to be committed. Now, who do they go on? Is it just? It just looks like it's a space creating ulti.
Yeah, I think Mineski, I think this is the point where you go, right? Spectral was just used. You have limited amount of time on Aegis. It's not like this is a high percentage chance to make something good happen for Mineski, but it's still your best option that I've seen in the last 5 minutes. I think go time is now when the Spectre ult is down.
You can't though. All 3 of your lanes are pushed in.
Yeah,
And
so
if
they
you
have
leave
to
your
like
base-
try and push out the lanes a little bit, and then think about going for the 5-man, but they didn't get the Rubik, so
They have 30 seconds left on Aegis.
I
That's,
sorta
that's
think-
their window.
I think
it's too late.
this sounds like really unexciting, but Liquid, it's so hard for them to lose this game because all 3 lanes are pushing in at once that it makes it difficult for Mineski to make these moves. Like,
They're going
okay,
to.
but here, watch bottom.
seeds
Bottom
of
lane
war.
pushes in. Nobody's dealing with it. Mid lane,
It's
is gonna
like
get
a warning
repelled.
bell.
Yeah.
It's like whoop whoop, like you're pushing in that bottom lane, no one's responding. Warning bells are going
that
off for
warning
Liquid.
bell's
they're
going to go
pinging.
off
They
right
know.
now on Kuro's head. You've got Fada who actually jumps in, gets a double silence, stopping the instant attack, and the Doom who will go off on the Invoker, but there's a lot of rest, a lot of more Mineski players to follow up into the attack. But Tubman's going to try and move over and actually let him have the double damage rune, allowing him just to beat through one. He'll look for the Invoker with 2 attacks. This is just disastrous for Mineski. They're going to lose 4 heroes again. In fact, T-Rex even with the meatball from the Invoker helps to get that kill. They've lost so many heroes. No buyback on Invoker or Sven.
You know how you really can tell that Liquid knew that was a smoke scenario? You know how they all rotated into the high ground area? That was the first thing they did. And maybe they didn't expect like a full wrath round where like Kuro got initiated on, but they knew the general idea.
They saw bottom lane. They're saying nobody's pushing this, guys. There's not even a Darkseer shell or anything like that. And that usually just signifies for Liquid. You knew that it was coming just because they were peeing like crazy. They're like, there's obviously something happening right now. Nobody's defending this bottom push. And that's why it's so hard when you lose 2 sets of racks, because you always have to worry about this wave.
They just keep that Blink Dagger on cooldown now. The Deathball from Marsh will do some good work, but Tubman caught inside the ice wall. He's going to go down. 103 seconds on the sideline for him. Rage Potato. Now we need to do some kind of work, but he's losing life too quickly. Surrounded by Team Liquid. Then her even dying underneath his own fountain. With these diebacks from Mineski, they just don't have the manpower to repel Liquid anymore. And that is a good game. Team Liquid will 2-0 out Mineski here in the first game of Group A.
I think there are some okay things to talk about here for Mineski. I think if you're a Mineski fan, you should feel good about the fact that the first 15 minutes of this game, what was it, 15, 20 minutes, that Mineski were actually either even or ahead versus a team like Liquid. And we talked about the fact that, Liquid is if you look at the charts, maybe the #1 team, just purely for the fact that we know that they're on a stable roster. We haven't seen anything from EG or Secret yet, that sort of thing. But you're talking about like one of the best teams in the world right now, and you were even, like, for a good amount of chunk of time or even ahead against them. Yeah, they sort of like fell apart after that. Roshan, it was just bad, turned into worse. But I think there are some like optimistic things to say about Mineski, especially after the big contrast of game #1 where they just got rolled over. Mineski just need to shake off this loss, understand that, yeah, like they're definitely the big underdogs here. So, this is kind of expected, but hopefully they'll be able to learn from this, see some of their mistakes that they made in just this game too. I wouldn't even necessarily look at game 1, just call that a draft problem and move on from there. But just look at this game 2, kind of rerun it and learn, move on. You'll have a better chance against some of these other teams in the group.
I think by far the biggest issue is just there's a time period where Mineski, they got comfortable with the rhythm of the game and they got sloppy. You can't make these kinds of moves against tier 1 teams. I think what ends up happening, especially at that Roche fight, maybe if you play it back with the Darkseer sitting outside, they can establish kind of like a control area where you can filter in heroes into the Roche pit, which is what you want to do. Then maybe that fight goes okay, but Liquid was able to kind of like silence inside the pit and force them in there while they took 2 mini engagements outside. Can't let things like that happen, but still a pretty decent showing, I guess, by Mineski, and Liquid probably walk away from that last game kind of feeling just like, They played pretty sloppy overall, but they kind of walk away with the win.
They played crisp and clean when they had to, but game 1 was a much better example of playing crisp and clean all the way through. Game 2 was definitely some mistakes, but I'm sure this is just sort of a, guys, come on. Like, we don't need to play that over aggressive.
Well, at the end of the day, the result still goes the way of Team Liquid. They'll go up 2-0. This is now only game of the day. We've got another 3 series coming your way, both the winners matches. So Team Liquid will play again later on in the afternoon. But coming up next here on the stream, it is going to be Team Secret going up against Team Empire. The first showcasing of the Team Secret roster up against, if we want to class them as that, underdogs of Team Empire. That'll be next here on the live stream.